Amazon is all about numbers. It's all about you can do a lot of A/B testing. You can basically figure out a lot of these with numbers and data.
Absolutely. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it really boils down to, two numbers are, the really most important to follow. And it's your visibility, which is your, sessions, right? Or your product page visits, and then your conversion, right? If you're optimizing each day your sessions and your conversion rate on each product family, then that's the name of the game. You'll see the profits sales just keep going up.
Hey everyone, I'm Akash, co-founder and CEO at SellerMate.ai. Welcome to the latest episode of our podcast. This series is designed to help entrepreneurs, brands, and owners of agencies scale e-commerce through ads, tools, and real-world strategies. Today, we have John Klein, founder of Online Brand Growth, a full-service Amazon agency that works on a pay performance basis, currently managing more than 30 million in revenue on Amazon, right? And in this episode, we'll deep dive into what a kick-ass Amazon growth team looks like, right? But before we go any deeper into this very exciting and relevant topic for all of us, let's first take a few moments to meet our guest, John. Right. So, John, right, why don't you start with a brief introduction about you? You've been in this space for more than 10 years now, right? But where did it all start?
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, Akash, for having me on today. I'm super excited to be here. So yeah, I started my e-commerce journey about 12 years ago. Originally working as like an affiliate, more on like the digital marketing side. I got my opportunity to come into the Amazon world in 2015, which started by launching my own private label skincare brand, which I still own and operate to this day. We quickly grew within like the first year and a half to seven figures, and kind of never looked back. So through
Fantastic.
that experience of like learning how to grow my own brand, both on Amazon and off Amazon, kind of develop the network as well as the skills and experience, and the team to help other brands. So I started doing some consulting, working with a venture capitalist group first during the aggregator boom. Had a very good success story where a big client of ours actually 30x their revenue and then exited to the aggregator. And then from there, we formalized like, a real agency with a full in-house team, to the point where today now we're serving 12 different partner brands. And as you mentioned, we do 30 million in annual revenue a year, managed, and we have a full growth department, which is going to be the topic that we actually talk about today, is the various different roles. So we could get into that.
Right.
But yeah, basically we do everything from the front end and the back end of Amazon, just managing the business to try to optimize the sales and the profit for our partner brand.
So very, very exciting and inspiring journey, right? It's really great to see that you started with solving your own problem, right? So you became a seller, scaled the brand, right? You developed that skill set before starting to help others, right? We do see like a lot of agencies and lot of people, right, who have never scaled a brand in their life and they are trying to help other companies scale a brand. So it's really, really nice to see someone who has actually done that. All right. So maybe like at a very high level, right? What would a typical team look like? And then I think we can get into say what are maybe the skill sets needed for each of the roles.
Yeah, and very well said with, there's a lot of, I think, agencies and service providers who, kind of want to learn on the client's dime. So I think it's really important when you're choosing, a service provider, especially someone who's going to be in more of a business manager kind of function, somebody who's been responsible for like a P&L, really understands like the, all the fees and stuff like that that go into an Amazon business, right? Or really anything in as far as that goes. As far as the team structure goes, so we really view it as five different departments. Okay. So the first is our catalog team, which is actually our biggest team. And this is essentially they're responsible for affecting changes on Amazon, right? because, as you're well aware, like just because you want to update something on Amazon doesn't mean it's so easy to do it, right? So first, that person needs to be very strong with like the flat files, like very data oriented, but also very persistent to constantly follow up with the support team and make sure that changes go through. You might have to go into brand registry. So somebody who's very, very persistent. We also have the catalog team is working with our performance PPC team to identify like suppression issues that may be on the page and remove trigger keywords from the front end or the back end that may be causing like ranking issues or ranking suppressions.
Makes sense, right? So I think basically, like anyone who starts on Amazon, right, the first thing they have to do is build their catalog, right? I think that's where the entire journey starts. So starting with cataloging, flat file, and they have to be persistent. They should know about brand registry. They also work cross-functionally with PPC team, basically to figure out if there are like any PPC related issues, which catalog could help, or there are catalog related issue which are causing maybe issues in PPC, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Super.
And another big one for certain clients is like page takedowns, right? So some sellers only experience that occasionally, but some sellers are experiencing constant page takedowns due to compliance issues that you constantly need to, work with Amazon to supply the documentation to get them back up. So that's kind of like the first team is the catalog team, and depending on your business, that may be a very heavy portion of your Amazon business. Okay.
Right.
The next team is the SEO listing optimization team. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's going to be somebody who really understands markets. Okay. And can understand like buyer psychology. Okay. And copywriting, and actually has some of those like sales and marketing skills. Right. They really need to understand the buyer. So that person is going to be responsible for the avatar research, understanding the target customer, then understand the market, the keywords, actually build out the listing copy and the title, the bullet points, the description, as well as the back end keywords. Okay. Then our next team is going to be our graphic design team, right? That's responsible for like the listing images and a
So John, maybe I think for a lot of sellers who are starting new, right? So they would get confused between say a catalog team versus a listing optimization team, right? So what how do they differ?
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that, because I think a lot of people try to lump this into one role. But
Right.
for us, it's two different roles. The catalog team doesn't really need to understand marketing or sales. Okay. They need to just
Okay.
understand how to be persistent and organized and to, achieve the desired result on Amazon.com. Right. And
Right.
then, of course, the listing optimization people need to be more like marketing oriented, understand copywriting, understand selling, right? And then what we do is when the listing is complete, we have our listing optimization specialist, and then the graphic specialist. They both pass their inputs to the catalog team for adding it to Amazon and ensuring that it gets there and stays there.
Right. I think one way to understand it would be a catalog team is more of an operations team, which is responsible for keeping your content up to date, things like those, right? It's more of an ops team versus SEO is more of a marketing team, right? So in Amazon, you don't have your own website. Your website is basically your listing, your images, right? So your marketing team would work on your D2C website. They'll work on your catalog. They'll work on your homepage. They'll work on your right the brand page, right? That's what the listing team is supposed to do, right? They should be more geared towards the consumer psychology and doing like the keyword research, SEO, right? So if I look at from a traditional website, right? If I compare it to it, right? Someone who knows SEO would know about keyword research, right? Topic clusters, things like those, and then a marketing person would understand, right? How should I what should my image contain, right? So if it's something, if a product is being sold to say the elder audience, right? So you would want those kind of people, right, in the images. Or if it's say for a more younger audience, you would want to have the moms playing with their kids in the images, right? So you have to understand those nuances, and that's where the the marketing bit of listing optimization comes in.
Yes, 100%. Very well said. So, the other piece to our SEO team, it's the listing optimization specialist who's doing that keyword research, and then it's the graphic designers, right? So I
Right.
would say that the graphic designers are more focused around conversion rate optimization, right? Because once you get them to the listing, if you do a
Right.
really good job speaking to the target customer and converting them into a buyer, now you've captured the visibility, you captured the conversion. So that's kind of like that second team pod. Again, the first team was the catalog team. Then the third team that we have is the PPC team, okay, which is familiar to most people. So their job is to use the core keywords that were identified during the listing optimization process to launch in a predictable way to, teach Amazon's algorithm from the beginning like what actually is this product and what converts for this product, right? um One thing that we do with our PPC team that maybe we could get to if we have time is we believe in like Lifecycle PPC
Mhm.
framework. So it's like going from your launch mode into your maintenance mode, using SQP data to further optimize the listing and then bring it into maturity mode. Okay. So that's kind of like what our PPC team is doing with each product family from launch into maturity mode. And then the last team that we have is our logistics operations team. So that team is basically responsible for trying to ensure that we keep the target days of stock in FBA. So, like,
Mhm.
for example, small and light products, we want to target between 90 to 120 days in stock. Slightly heavier products, maybe we're targeting lower, like between 45 to
Mhm.
60 days of stock,
Mhm.
right? Based on the different FBA fees for each
Right.
product size, right? And maybe for oversize, we're usually recommending merchant fulfilled. So that person is kind of responsible for helping the clients to stay within those targets and then also handling the reimbursement and FBA fee remeasurements, like things like that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So if I like summarize it, right? So it starts with say cataloging, then goes into SEO where you have listing as well as graphic designers, then a PPC team, and then logistic operations, right? So, but I think there are still like a lot of things that needs to be done to have like a sustainable or like a fast growing Amazon business, right? For example, if someone is starting new, reviews plays a very big role,
Yeah.
right? So where would that fit in?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So the last piece is really the account manager, right? Or the account strategist, right? So that's somebody, it might be the brand owner, or you might have a marketing manager who's going to fill this role. But that's somebody who's going to be like the brain of the operation, right? Like what products are you going to launch, right? Is probably the most important thing, right? So new product discovery, new product development, putting that into a launch production life cycle. That's going to be very key. And then, like you said, launch and how we're going to get reviews. So are you going to use Amazon Vine? We use Amazon Vine for products that are like easily understood, like it's not too niche of a product. It's a well-priced product because a lot of times they're very cynical if the product price is too high. So you might want to use that, or maybe you have like some kind of email list from your e-commerce website that you're going to leverage to launch, right? And try to build some reviews, of course, in a compliant way through those efforts. But yeah, this strategic account manager is going to like make sure that that's all going, and then throughout the year making sure to take advantage in different deals and promotional opportunities.
Right.
So you might want to test some coupons. You might want to test subscribe and save coupons if that's big for you. Different discount amounts during subscribe and save. You might want to test lightning deals, right? If you have lightning
Right.
deals or best deals available throughout the year. And then you really might want to get involved with the tentpole events, such as Prime Day. You have the regular Prime Day. Now we have Fall Prime Day every year. And then you have Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Those are like the big ones that you could run Prime exclusive discounts. And during those holidays, have a lot of success. So yeah, that's like kind of like the last piece is just having that person who's gonna like direct the team and keep the team, moving and rowing in the right direction.
Perfect, right? So this basically sums up an uh, entire Amazon operations. You also talked about a lot of people come to you because their listings are getting suppressed, right? They are not getting results they were getting in the past, right? And you have like a very amazing framework to basically step by step framework to walk people through how they can get this resolved, right? So why don't we talk about that framework as well?
Yeah, no, sounds great. So yeah, I mean, if you've been selling for some time, you've probably experienced some product you have and the sales are down. So, we all like first you wonder just why are the sales down. So through our experience, have developed a process that we go through to try to identify if there's a problem and if there's something we can take action on. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first step I would say is like to look at your BSR. So the BSR is
Okay.
your bestseller rating. Okay. That's like in the middle of the page on Amazon.com on your product page. You'll see like a ranking that's a number within your category and then also within your browse node, which is your subcategory, right? So you might be 100,000 in beauty and then 10,000 in skincare tools or something like that. Okay. So that is like your score. Okay, and it's like golf. The lower your score, the better. That score is constantly comparing you versus your competitors. If your number is going down, that means your sales are improving relative to your competitor. If your number's going up, your sales are decreasing relative to your competitor. And if your number is staying the same, then your sales are staying the same relative to your competitors. So the first thing to realize, like if your sales are going down, but your BSR is remaining the same,
Yes.
it's a category wide issue, right? So
Right.
it's not something that's just specific to you. Okay. Maybe there's just like softening demand. There's a lot of reasons that could cause that, right? But there's generally when that's happening category wide, unless you're like the one creating the demand on outside, like Facebook ads or something like that, there's generally nothing that you can do, and you should move on. Okay. Now,
Yes.
let's say that your BSR is getting worse. So now you know that it's a problem. Okay. The first thing you want to check is, has there been any like on page changes? Okay. Amazon is changing things on your product page. Okay. From time to time without your knowledge and without your approval. Okay. As you know, they have a lot of new AI tools and not all of the tools are good. Right. Or not always like helping to improve your visibility and conversion. So yeah, first step is to go to your page. Has anything changed? Has the title changed? Has the images changed? Have any of the bullet points been removed? Has description been removed or changed? A plus content. Has any of the elements of the listing, like the children, right? If you have many children in a parent-child relationship,
Uh-huh.
that's all in a variation on a page. Has anything changed with one of the SKUs being removed? Or maybe just a different way that Amazon is presenting the information there? Like, is it organized differently? Is there something changed there? Is there something changed with the price? Is there something changed with like you lost your cross out pricing where it's not showing the MSRP, not showing coupon? Okay, so has there been any like changes like on the page itself? Okay, right? The next thing, if not, has there been any competitor changes? Has a competitor started a big sale? Is there a new competitor to the market? Is there a competitor that has, done something with their reviews where they have a lot of reviews now? So is there something that's changed there? Last but not least, back to your page, is there something that's changed with your category, your browse node? Right? Has it changed or has it broken? Okay. So those are all kind of like the steps that you're taking. And then also like looking at your branded search volume. Okay. So is there anything changed specifically with people looking for your brand? Maybe that's related to your own Facebook or Google ads or something else. And then the other thing you want to check for sure is your PPC. Has anything changed significantly? Has the spend increased and maybe you're targeting too broad now, right? So you see that all of a sudden your ACoS has gone up a lot. So now you're targeting too broad, you're lowering your conversion rate and is harming your overall page performance. Okay.
Right.
So those are all like the general things. I know I say a lot right there,
Right.
in terms of things to look at.
Right.
Um,
But I think this was a very good summary. So if I would say summarize this, right? So what you are saying is start looking at BSR, right? See if right, if your BSR remains the same, it's basically the category overall is going down, right? Now you look at if your BSR is going down, that's the only place you have to be worried about, right? If your BSR is going up and your overall sales is going down, this means you're doing good relatively in your category. It's just that your whole category is doing bad, right? That's the first thing to check. Once you check your BSR, you basically then go ahead and check each and every detail of your product page, right? Maybe it's the images, description, title, right? Look at everything, I think, very granularly and right with a lot of detail, right? Once you have looked at your listings, now then within Amazon, go and look your competitors, right? So maybe they have made a change, right? They have a different price, they have an offer, they have more reviews, right? They have a product which has more features, right? So once you have at your competitors, now I think you can start looking outside of Amazon, right? So maybe you're running Meta, you're running on Google, right? That's where you go and search for a branded on maybe basically Google search, right? Once that is done, right now you can also go and look at your PPC, which is basically within your Amazon. All right. So probably I'll put the PPC above, right? Before going and checking outside, you after checking your competitor, you also look at your PPC, right? Then you go ahead and look at branded search volume outside Amazon. Maybe if there's a factor which is changed outside, right? You have a couple of YouTube videos where people are not saying good about your product. You never know, right? I think this is like the framework, right? And what I really like about it, you have to be like meticulous. You have to look at every detail. You have to figure out what has changed, and that's the only way you will get your answer. Well, I think Amazon is all about numbers. It's all about you can do a lot of A/B testing. You can basically figure out a lot of these with numbers and data. You have like all of the first party data in Amazon.
Absolutely. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it really boils down to, two numbers are, the really most important to follow. And it's your visibility, which is your, sessions, right? Or your product page visits, and then your conversion, right? If you're optimizing each day your sessions and your conversion rate on each product family, then that's the name of the game. You'll see the profits sales just keep going up. So
Right. Perfect. Awesome. So yeah, I think this was really great and insightful. Uh, John, really thank you for doing this for our audience. Right, and yeah, thank you everyone for listening to our podcast. If you're looking for more ways to grow on Amazon or your direct to consumer business, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.